Welcome back. As we earlier talked about, Prime Minister's Mustafa Madbouli stressing over the importance of developing and focusing over the projects of developing the North Coast and Al Alamein city in general. And he held a meeting with Housing Minister Dr. Asim Al Ghazar. And during that meeting, there was a follow-up on the executive position of the North Coast Development Project. And the Premier also affirmed that the state would continue to implement developmental projects in the new Alamein city as one of the biggest steps to effect a huge development regional-wise in the urban communities, and that is represented inside the modern Alamein city that is considered as the second capital to Egypt. We're very delighted to be having with us Mr. Abdul Latif Wahba, a journalist, a political and economic analyst. Good morning, Mr. Abdul Latif.
Good morning.
How are you doing? Let us talk about the importance of developing Egypt's North Coast.
Yes, of course, as you know that the government and according to direction of or from President Abdul Sisi started a new wave of development for the North Coast, and especially Al Alamein. As you know that during the past decade, for example, Al Alamein and also the North Coast was used only for 3 months per year. This is, of course, it's not a development, but now they are planning to use the North Coast as a new urban communities. After they launched many projects and also the main infrastructures, and at the same time they created public utilities like universities, health hospitals, and also new urban communities in this area. So they can move from the Delta and the north of Delta to the North Coast, and at the same time the government fabricated also many industries in this area, and also agricultural projects and so on. So they are aiming to exploit the North Coast all over the year, not like the other decade for 2 months or 3 months. And this, of course, will help Egypt economically. As you know that they offered many many projects for the Arab and the Gulf investors and also Egyptian investors and international companies with a special incentive for them to invest and to increase their investment in this area.
Right. As we all know that this particular very precious place in Egypt is going to change the map of urban community, and it's going to effect a second capital to Egypt. How is it important to establish this city, especially to absorb the overpopulation inside Egypt?
Of course, as we said, we have to know that creating main infrastructures like highways and roads and so on, of course, help the government to create new urban communities. And if you started with the new urban communities, the government was obliged to create the main infrastructures at the time, especially providing it with water sources, with electricity, electricity, energy, and so on. So when you achieve all these main infrastructures, this of course will attract the people and the state employees themselves to move from the delta to the north coast. And at the same time, they are now planning to put it on the other agenda of Egypt of tourism to attract to transfer tourism from, for example, from Hurghada and so on. This is, as you know, these are the traditional resorts of Egypt, traditional destinations for Egypt. They are trying to attract them to the north coast and the central coast. You know that we have some tourism areas like El Alamein, for example, museum of the Second World War, and also now are trying to attract them to Marsa Matruh, the capital, and also they are putting the North Coast and on the Egyptian map of tourism and trying to promote for them foreign markets. This is of course means that you can create an integrated urban communities and to attract also not only the investment and the foreign direct investment and the international companies to invest in North Coast, but also to attract the Egyptian people to move and to work in helping and the logistics area and so on.
Right. When we talk about Al Alamein city, we talk about a totally different, very strategic city that could be acting or affected as a sustainable city that could work all year long, give services and facilities for citizens, for tourists, for visitors, for investors throughout the whole year. It could be a summer city and it could be a place where you can spend the winter, a touristic place for winter. It is also holding, like you kindly mentioned, administrations and offices, also schools and businesses and industries. How is it important to Egypt, and how is it going to change the economic map, especially that we are effecting an economic reform program still with it?
Yeah. As you know that during this area and are trying to create urban communities, this is, of course, will create a new economy in Egypt, not to the traditional economy in tax and so on, or local industries, but they will create another business in North Coast, especially as you know that the investors and also the Arab investors, they are now and establishing a mega project in the North Coast. Some handles, as you know that, of course, this amount of investment require also new employees to work in the area for this investment and create a new community in this area. As you mentioned, the government established also give a permission for international institutions to open their branches like banks, local or Egyptian banks, as they said, also we have many universities in this area. For example, the university, and also the maritime, the new branch for maritime in this area. It's well encourage the people to move to this area, on one hand. But the other hand, construction and create new urban cities in this area means a way to protect to national. As you know, we suffered some for last year from the Africans who tried to flee from Libya through the wheat borders and so on. This, of course, will create a new procedure for to the national security in this area. This is one hand. Don't forget, as the that is now with in cooperation with Russia to its power. This, of course, will the point for to attack the investment all over the world in this area.
Right. So speaking about an important city like that, we should be also thinking or planning for industrial programs, touristic programs, and also trade programs, new developmental programs to cope with such a very important strategic city like this. How is the government going to implement those projects, and what type of modern industrial plans and touristic plans to be implemented during the upcoming 2023?
Of course, as you know that Egypt also implemented programs, economic programs. They adopted at the same time the substances for the investment work in Egypt, especially some areas. They give them many incentives, like North Coast, Ruh, and so on. This, of course, will encourage the investors to launch their industrial projects in this place. And at the same time, as you know, that Egypt prepared and presented presented its national determined contributions during COP 27 that will start maybe after a month. They prepared it, and how they are still working with the international community to cope with the international standards of emissions and so on. Egypt now is trying to create a new industries, a new protective friendly that works friendly with the environment. In North Dakota, for example, they are trying to select some industries, especially that working in computer science and so on, and also with the nature of this area. I mean, some institutions for fishing in this area. This is, of course, well also give an chance or opportunities for the Egyptian youth to work in this area.
Right, Mr. Abdul Latif Wahba, the political and economic and journalist would like to thank you so much and wish you you have a beautiful day. We're going to go to a short break and we'll come to continue the breakfast show, so stay with us.